It's like watching like an illusionist on a grand stage with all these props, or you're sitting at a card table with him in a basement and he's still able to blow your mind either or way.
It is time.
The best compliment we ever got was someone said that it was our office had strong roadie vibes, and I'm like, that's exactly what we're going for.
That's
We're
huge.
just like gear cases around and stuff like that.
Yeah, I bet just being in your office feels great, All right. And it's cool because I noticed that like all of these different relics videos that we're listening to, it seems that they're all playing in different places, which I think is so cool, right? So you guys have all these different setups that you've been putting musicians in, and they each have their own little flair. So why don't we move on to the next one by Garcia Peoples? So how did you first hear about Garcia Peoples? And then how did, like it go from I know this band to, oh, I want them to come and play in the Relic studio. So how did that happen, Mike?
So Garcia Peoples, I probably first heard of in like 2018, if I remember correctly. And I obviously working at Relics, love tracking the jam band scene and tracking psychedelic music and finding out new bands and seeing them grow and hopefully prosper and go through the club ranks. And at the same time, I always really enjoyed the downtown New York scene and the indie rock scene and the DIY scene and all these kind of unconventional spaces that host music, especially when I was kind of in my 20s and 30s, and it was mostly happening in Brooklyn. I think it's gone a little bit deeper into maybe Queens and other places now. And Garcia People kind of hugged both of those worlds. As their name suggests, there is a strong psychedelic, 60s, early 70s Grateful Dead vibe to them. At the same time, they played all these Brooklyn alternative spaces and had a little bit of a indie punk edge to them too. So I was super into them as soon as I first heard them. And the way that they played our studio, they were actually, I believe, the first band to play the studio during the pandemic when we opened up what became our, the Relic studio where we do sessions now for, 2.5 years. And they mostly live in the New York area, in Jersey and upstate and whatnot. So they were able to come in and do this session, and it was really exciting. One, to have them in the studio, and two, at that point, none of us had really seen much live music because we were, almost a year into the pandemic, and people weren't going out and seeing stuff. So we got to see a socially distant show, which was great.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. And another quick question. So, like I'm thinking about this while watching this, with Relics, you guys are dealing with, very big acts, and things like that. So as your career is going on and you're getting older and you're seeing all these bands, how do you personally, find who are the up and coming bands, right? Like who would like when you look at a lineup, right? Like I'm sure all the headliners and I'm sure all of the mid-sized, right? But how does Mike Greenhaus like sift through the very bottom and like keep your finger on the pulse on like the smaller bands that maybe you're not personally going to see and things like that? Like how do you like find like the up and coming acts? Like
I mean, I think it's
yourself?
a mixture of listening to friends and listening to people that I respect in the industry, and occasionally if you're invited by a publicist or a manager to check out an emerging band, going to check that out, even if people haven't heard of them, and also being at the right place at the right time. There's been so many times where I've been lucky to be in the show, and I got there early for the opener, and they ended up becoming a bigger band. And I definitely pride myself, and I think all of us at Relic pride ourselves in kind of investing in these younger bands on an editorial side. There's a bunch of bands that I wrote small On the Verge profiles, which is our smallest section. There's like 3 or 4 of them on a page, and watching those bands grow to our cover. Actually, our current cover is King Gizzard, and they're a band that I wrote an On the Verge section profile on, I think, like 2014, and here it is almost 10 years later, they're on our cover, and it's amazing to watch those bands kind of grow with the magazine.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Tame Impala, they're probably the other big psychedelic rock band coming out of Australia, So
Totally.
I really like them. But why don't we check out the Garcia Peoples? So this is actually a song from their 2018 album Cosmic Cash, but we're listening to them perform it on the Relic Studios. This is a song called The Sweet Lie right here on Galaxy Jams Reacts.
Hi, we're Garcia Peoples. We're going to play some songs for you.
Hit me, Daddy. I mean, this sounds so much like the song, one of the songs we already heard. It's great.
The way you lie up on that grass makes it seem like you're the only one who could ever make that last. And the sweet lie that you tell the other man doesn't get me anywhere like it used to do. I'm up in the morning at 4 o'clock, I'm wasting time. I don't know why I try to talk, my mind's not right. With a sweet lie that you tell the other man keeps replaying in my head like they used to do. Feeling heavy in my head, I've got the blues. Know that I encourage you to feel them too. Couldn't get any better than this. Without you, I'm lost in time. And yeah, I know it's true.
I love how intimate this is.
For you. Couldn't get any better than this. Without you, I'm lost in time. No, it's true. I'll make it all up for you. It's not how we go out.
It's what we leave behind.
It's not how we go out.
It's what we leave behind.
Nice.
Very, very intimate.
Yeah, it made me feel like, I'm at a coffee shop or I'm at a bar. I'm getting there like at 5 or 6 in the afternoon. I'm having one drink. It's still light outside. There's people kind of trickling in. I'm just like introspectively like thinking about my life. That's kind of the vibes that
Yeah.
this gives me,
It's like sweetly psychedelic.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
like
it's
that.
like
That's good.
peacefully psychedelic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was like with a wink. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
yeah.
was like it was like a cross between like a good old country song and then something a little bit more and something a little bit sweeter.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kai?
No, I agree with you. It was just a very intimate song, very intimate setting, and even just the volume of the instruments itself. I think it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, what made you decide to, bring that song for us, Mike? Like, this is one of the songs that you're picking for us to go over. What's making you bring this song for us to be on the show today?
But one thing that I really love about this song in particular is you guys all kind of rightfully pinpointed this as like a nice like 5 p.m. like you're about to have a epic night, but this is the beginning of it performance, and that's definitely a side of their music. But Garcia Peoples at the same time, much like their semi namesake Jerry Garcia and the Dead, they could have these really small, intimate, stripped down songs, but then they
Mhm.
could expand into these long. Uh, Extended, deep psychedelic jams, but at the core of those jams are these kernels of songs. So that's kind of one of the amazing things I think about this band and about a lot of the bands that I try to pinpoint today. Actually,
Yeah, to me, like listening to this kind of type of genre of a band, especially live, it's like you're in a river, right? And like each little cobblestone is like the lyrics in the song. And so you're pretty much like jumping from one stone to the next while the waters of the jam is like swirling around you, right? And so when a band has really good songs, it makes those landing points like a lot better. So you can do a lot more, land on your 2 feet or do a little jig before wading through the water to the next landing point. And so this was a really good one. AJ Roberts in the chat says this is nice. Megan C in the chat says that it's super intimate. And Ford's No there in the chat says it's like close-up magic, but very tentative.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it's like watching like an illusionist on a grand stage with all these props, or you're sitting at a card table with him in a basement and he's still able to blow your mind either or way. You know, there's still ways that you can deliver the magic, even when it's one person with a guitar or 50-person orchestra with an LED wall and a $70,000 light show behind them. Like, either ways you can get there. So, hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.